Back now on Triad today, just about time for the roundtable. Ogie Overman, who is in his holiday festive coat, as you can see that. Can you see that okay, TJ? You can see his coat there. And David Daggett, we held over from earlier. Keith Granberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultants. Guys, on a serious note, last week a North Forsyth High School student was killed by a fellow student during a knife fight which took place in the school bathroom. Until now, the school system has used metal detectors selectively, but it would cost $2 million extra to equip all the schools. Two questions. One, will taxpayers support paying for metal detectors in every school? And two, this is going to sound really stupid, but I'm going to ask it anyway, should schools install security cameras in bathrooms? Ogie.
Well, I think they should have metal detectors, but given their financial dire straits they're in, I don't think they will support it.
What about security cameras?
I don't like any bath. That's too intrusive. I don't like that.
It's terrible that we even have to talk about these questions. I think it's probably time for metal detectors
everywhere.
In every school. It's unfortunate, but I think that's the time and place we live in. Cameras in bathrooms, absolutely not.
Keith.
Metal detectors in school are needed, and that I think that you need more security officers or school officers that are in the schools that would deter something like that.
All right. Meanwhile, it turns out that a number of students filmed that deadly fight but did nothing to stop it. Others just stood around and watched. They're sharing it on social media. The police are angry about this. Should those students be charged with anything, Ogie?
Well, I don't think you can charge cowardice, but you could pass a law saying if you put violent confrontations online, that could be a crime.
David.
I agree with Ogie. There are bystander protections under the law, so I don't think they can be charged with any crimes. However, I think we've evolved with social media to the point that we need to put in more regulations and guidelines that cover situations like this.
Keith.
I think that you have to put in more guidelines. I think that you can't charge them. I think sometimes jumping into something like that could get more people hurt. But I do think that there should be guidelines around what you're posting and what you do with that material.
They at least should have put the doggone phone camera down and gone and gotten the school resource.
And again, that's why I think there need to be more security officers trained. When I say that, they have to be trained.
Going back to what David said, the Australian government has banned kids under 16 from having access to social media. Would you like to see the United States follow that example, Ogie Overman?
Yeah, a book just came out called The Amazing Generation that advocates that very thing. Keep them out of their hands till they're 16.
David.
I don't disagree with that concept. I don't know that we want to regulate that. However, I go back to what happens is our regulatory framework lags behind our technological innovation.
Absolutely.
And the regulatory framework needs to catch up so that we can protect society.
Ban social media.
I want to know how they're banning it in Australia, how they're monitoring this ban, because it seems like it's almost impossible to monitor a ban like that.
China figured it out. I guess Australia did the same thing. Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno has proposed a bill called the Exclusive Citizenship Act. If it passed, the act would end the practice of dual citizenship. Moreno says any citizen of the United States who is also a foreign citizen could create a conflict of interest. You okay with ending dual citizenship?
Oh, his name ought to be Bernie Moron. I got plenty of friends who have dual citizenship.
You're okay with that?
He's just trying to curry favor with he who shall remain unnamed.
That's right, David.
Yeah, well, he who shall remain unnamed, I think, has a spouse with dual citizenship.
Yeah. Yes.
But this is for headlines. This law will never pass. There's no way in the world it's practical. People who have parents in other countries, people who have land and inheritance, there's all sorts of legal complications. On top of the fact, the United States government doesn't have an institution to monitor this, so we would have to add to the U.S. bureaucracy, which is already getting worse.
Dual citizenship?
I think you definitely need to keep dual citizenship. I don't think it doesn't make sense not to have it.
Okay, finally, the owner of an Airbnb in Turkey has a rule that couples can only use the beds for sleeping. Guys, would you stay in a place that you could only use the bed for sleeping, Ogie?
That reminds me of that commercial with Nick Saban in there, Randy. You can't get in the spa and you can't have any fun. You know,
Not a good idea,
I would
David.
not do that.
Yes, I could use a long night's sleep.
So you just sleep-
I would like to hibernate for a while, and it sounds like a good place to go.
Would you rent a place where you can only allowed to sleep in the bed?
Why would I do that? That doesn't make sense to me.
Why would you rent it, or
Why would I do that?
you wouldn't get your deposit back? That's your problem.
He's much younger than me.
Why would I do
You're
that?
not
Why
getting
would I
his
do that?
deposit back. Well, that's all the time we have.
Right.
Santa's not coming to y'all's house. That's what I'm saying. For all of us here, I'll try it today. Have a good holiday. I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next time.